Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have John Mellor. He's the CEO of Domo to discuss the rapid acceleration of data growth and turning that data into value for customers. It is great to see you, John. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Hi, Jill. Thank you.
You got it. And Domo released its 10th annual Data Never Sleeps report, which is a glimpse of the massive amounts of data being created every minute by the popular tools we use every day online. Tell us what the report has shown over the last decade.
Well, thank you, Jill. I mean, over the last 10 years, what's interesting to watch is how we continue to digitally transform our lives. I mean, from how we use money to how we conduct meetings. It just underscores how digitally literate we're becoming in our personal lives. And I think the interesting counterpoint is that we're craving that same shift in business, and it's just not happening fast enough. It's easier for most people to get data on how much they slept last night than what's in their pipeline forecast or which marketing channel is performing better.
In looking at this year's report, does anything about the findings surprise you?
Well, maybe a couple things. The first is that the underlying transition to digital in our personal lives, it is continued full steam ahead. What's interesting is the platforms that we use to communicate and connect, they continue to change. I mean, if we rewind 10 years ago, we were looking at things like Vine, you know, the 6-second videos. Those have transitioned to TikTok and other platforms. Peer-to-peer finance app Venmo. It's gone from $52,000 sent per minute when we first started tracking this to over $400,000 per minute now. Things like Zoom, DoorDash, they just weren't on the radar 10 years ago. So you see the rise of new services that give us personal freedom, expression, and more control over our personal lives.
How does the growth of data align with Domo's mission?
Well, you know, Domo's mission is to transform business by putting data to work for everyone. I mean, we think companies, teams, and individuals, we do our best work when data is deeply integrated into the tools we use to do our jobs. And we have to do this at the level of urgency demanded by businesses today. I mean, there just isn't time to wait. You know, in our personal lives, we're becoming surprisingly data literate, as shown by this report. But the workplace, it's still far behind. And you know, we've talked about digital transformation in the workplace for decades, but it just hasn't reached most of the people in their everyday jobs. Industry analysts will say that up to 70 or maybe 80% of people don't have access to the data they need to do their jobs, and we think it's far more than that.
What is Domo doing to help companies get more value from all that data?
Yeah, well, we think of Domo as it's really solving the last mile of data access and usability. So Domo goes far beyond traditional BI charts and graphs, and we put data into personalized data experience, and we call these data apps. And these data experiences guide action right at the point where work gets done. So if you're in marketing or HR, sales, finance, data is becoming an increasingly powerful tool to you to do your job. And we help drive this digital transformation, leveraging data and the resources you've already got across all organizations, because that is a clear source of competitive advantage that's underutilized in our view.
And finally, John, what should companies keep in mind when it comes to turning their data into business value?
Well, this report is called Data Never Sleeps, but in our view, data, it doesn't sleep, but it's not working hard enough, especially for business. And as businesses, we continue to create more and more of it, but there's only value if we put it to work. And so as organizations, we need to think about how do we create a strategy for data adoption? And that's using data at the ground level, not just executives, not just IT. And most companies will admit that the data exists, but the adoption within organizations is still very, very low. And adoption is not just about technical people, it's about line of business, and it's about speed. And it goes for companies in pretty much every industry. We've got customers that's a cement company, a fast food chain, a furniture retailer and manufacturer. These companies, they're dramatically changing how they do business when they integrate data right at the point where work gets done.
All right, John, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.